Hey everybody, Brian Boyle here, and welcome to episode 151 of The Mesh Tongue. It's been a little while, and I want to fill you in on a couple different things and the reason why it's been a little while. But hey, if you've got questions, if you've got comments, send them to me, Brian, B-R-I-A-N, at company5k.com. I'll be happy to get back to you. I appreciate all the emails and the comments and the folks interacting. It's some good stuff, you know, and again, the whole point of this is to help you and provide you some value. So if you've got questions, reach out. If something doesn't make sense, reach out. You know, if you got comments, what do? You reach out, okay? So the reality is that I'm here, I'm available, and that's the whole point, be a value-add resource to you. The reason I've been taking a few days off, you know, this is one of those things. This is kind of time intensive. It's not exactly the easiest of things to get edited and get put together, come up with new ideas and such. We're at episode 151. The goal is you know, see how long this goes and take it from there. If you're finding value, I'll keep going. If you know, if it's not, then you know, so be it. But what I've been working on is some stuff. I've been working directly with a manufacturer of some pretty interesting stuff. And the reason I say it's pretty interesting is because anytime I see something that has use for runners, I'm always like, hey, you know what? I'm all ears. And so this manufacturer's got some stuff that is pretty solid. And when I say pretty solid, it's got clinical studies behind it, and it's not necessarily labeled for runners, so it's not like one of those things that you're going to see like, oh, get online, type in running stuff. That's the reason why I like it, is because it's not necessarily intended for runners, and so it's intended for overall health and wellness. They've got this patented delivery system, and what they've done is they've put out this solid product for basically everybody, but we've been seeing some fantastic things in an off-label use for runners. Things like reducing inflammation, improving recovery, looking at increasing metabolism, you know, all things that can have a significant benefit, especially if you're running 40, 50, 60 plus miles a week. Man, you're looking for something to reduce that inflammation. Well, this manufacturer and this group has got something. So hit me up, reach out, Brian at company5k.com. I know I've been reaching out to some of the folks that I have seen. You may need some issues helped, and so I'm personally been reaching out to you. So if you get a call from me, if you get a you know, kind of an Instagram or a text or whatever, yeah, I'm looking to catch up, but I'm also wanting to share this with you because we're working with some clients here and we're seeing some fantastic results. All right, so without further ado, what are we going to talk about today? So we're going to talk about downhill running. So downhill running, why is it different? Well, downhill running, man, I hate downhill running, quite honestly. I've talked about hill running before in secret training and stuff like that. I hate downhill running, quite honestly. It just does not feel good to me. My IT band always seems to get tore up when I do a significant amount of downhill running. So any sort of hill repeats I do hill repeats up, kind of walking down the hill, or a low jog, but then I'll tear it up the hill. I just don't do well with it. Now, does that mean that everybody doesn't? Absolutely not. I also don't like pistachio ice cream, and I also don't like mint chocolate chip. Call me weird, but I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people that do like it, so I always talk about them. I always talk about downhill running. So a couple things to watch out for in downhill running. Okay, you're probably going to need to shorten your stride. This is a big one. People, you'll hear coaches saying, float the hill, okay? Let it go, okay? Let the hill carry you. These are all kind of training cues that you'll hear coaches commonly use. Downside of it is if you are not used to running down hills, and or say you have some hip weakness, you've got weakness at the hip abductors, the abductors, you've got weakness at the glutes, chances are what's going to happen on the downhill, you're going to extend your stride. All right, the quadriceps not going to have enough of a way to decelerate. When you extend that stride, you're also going to set yourself up for potential IT band issues, All right, maybe some toenails being lost where the toes are digging into the toe box, unless you've got enough space in there. Blisters, any number of things that I can think of that are associated with downhill running. Hip flexor strains, kind of that groin pull we talked about in the last episode. Last episode. So what I would recommend is use your best judgment. Okay, when somebody says float the hill or let the hill carry you when you're going downhill, we've got a lot of downhill marathons and half marathons and things in the canyons in Utah. I know there's some others throughout the country that are touted as downhill runs. Sounds great, and there are a few people, like I said, those select few that do really, really well on downhills, and then other people kind of like, oh, I think I'll do well on downhill, it's got to be easier, and then they wonder why they're all tore up afterwards. So, stay within control, shorten the stride length a little bit, so think about increasing your cadence or increasing your turnover. That will help so that you don't extend all the way out. Then when you get done, ice. Okay, ice the dickens out of your knees, your hips, stretch. Make sure that you're getting a good stretch in. Use anti-friction powder or a spray, or wicking socks if you know that you're going to be doing a lot of downhills. And by all means, then if you're having some issues, either A, kind of treat them, or B, don't be afraid to take a rest day after having had downhill running. And you're not going to necessarily know this until you get into it. So if you're not really doing a whole lot of downhill running and all of a sudden you know that there's something coming up, you'll want to monitor how you're feeling afterwards. Also take a look at your training log. Make sure that your training log, you put down details. How'd you feel? What did you wear? What did you eat? Okay, what were the conditions like? What was the course like? Or what was your training run like? That way you have the more details, you can go back and you can look and you can say, okay, this is where I did really, really well and I excelled. And this is where I blew up. Okay, this is right where my pain started. This is where I ended up. Okay, or so on and so on. The goal is never to have any pain, but that's the likelihood of pain is exponentially higher when you're above 40 miles per week. Simple as that. Okay, you're increasing your mileage. Increased risk for running injury also increases. I wish there was some other way to go about it, but that's what's kept me in business all these years. And okay, so the goal is to try and keep you running as best and as long as you can. So that's it for downhill running. If you've got anything that works for you, let me know. Send those questions to me, Brian, B-R-I-A-N at company. That's the number 5k.com. So 5k.com, and I'll be happy to get back to you with the answers. Also, if you're interested in learning more about this manufacturer, and I'm not naming names, because again, you introduce something to somebody, it's better to have kind of that personal introduction. So if you're looking for something, you're in the market, I'll be happy to sit down with you, 15, 20 minutes, introduce you to the company. If not, hey, no hard feelings. I know there's a lot of companies out there. I just like working with stuff that I know works. So hit me up. That's it. Brian, check out runpainless.com. Whatever you do, okay, don't go hurting yourself to come back. We'll see you again next time. Share this with your friends, family, training partners. I appreciate you all. That's it. See ya.